Champions has happened only one other time, and that was in 1962.
1962, you had Ohio State winning 60, Cincinnati in 61, and they went against each other in 62 with Cincinnati winning again.
Carolina gets it inside, but then turns it over as Stackhouse had Razorbacks around him.
He hurt his ankle right off the bat. Jerry Stackhouse in some trouble.
Outside, Elmer Martin knocks down a three, and the officials will let Stackhouse get to the bench.
How about that nice piece of sportsmanship by McDaniel? He wants to play against the best. He goes over, pats Stackhouse on the back. Let's see what happens here. I thought he got fouled twice, no call. And I said slow whistle, quick whistle. If that's an indicator, tough shape for North Carolina. They're picking up right where they left off. There's the whistle.
That looked pretty clean right in front of us.
Exactly. That one looked like it was pretty good defense. Corey Beck looks over at us and said, he's kind of laughing. He's saying, man, let me touch somebody. Jim, we remember that defensive intensity we saw in the second half of the Virginia game. Arkansas showing what led them to the championship last year.
Beck gets the call, and Wallace the turnaround.
Rasheed Wallace is excellent in that low post with that turnaround jumper. Got to put more pressure on him than that.
Beck gives it up. Good passing here. Thurman three. Calabria rebound.
You know, Martin, the good luck charm, Jim, as a starter.
13-0.
Yeah, they don't normally count on him hitting a three to start the game. Sullivan, of course, used the Final Four experience.
Williams.
Nice decision by Williamson. Nothing there. There's the matchup we want to see right here. Williamson and Stackhouse. And Wallace.
McDaniel, three-pointer.
Unlikely sources for Arkansas power right off the bat. Stackhouse, Jim, got up and tried to walk some, but he's still down on the sidelines in trouble. Pace of the game, what we expected.
Calabria, travel. We're told, first report, a bruised thigh for Stackhouse.
He's coming back.
Beck, pull-up jumper.
Corey has not been looking for his shot in the NCAA tournament so far, has not scored double figures yet in any game.
Calabria, back out McInnes. He'll take a three. Yes.
Good tap back by Wallace.
6'5" Hogs ahead. Williamson, too strong.
I think he expected more contact, Jim. Smart play by Wallace not to go after him.
In the corner, Donald Williams. Well, he hit 10 out of 14 from three back in '93. He's missed his first two beyond the arc. Scotty Thurman off the shot clock. That'll be Carolina basketball.
Donald Williams, of course, 2 25-point games in those final four games.
Stackhouse returns.
So McDaniel gets his wish. Here's a 2-2-1 full court pressure. North Carolina with 20 turnovers against Kentucky's press still came away with a victory.
Thurman read that one just right.
Stackhouse still is on a gimpy leg. Straight man inside. Looks like they're letting Wallace guard Williamson by himself.
Daniel, not this time. Martin kept it alive, smartly tipping it to Beck. Corliss jumper.
Showing us a nice touch on that shot. Corliss known for low post positioning.
Stackhouse. McDaniel ahead. He got a man here. Beck.
Good
block by Calabria. Wow. Tar Heels now. Good pass over to McInnes.
This game's going to be in the hundreds, Jim, if they don't slow down. somebody start hitting because defense hadn't had a chance to get in position.
Donald Williams drives.
That's his shot. He loves that leaner.
Last touch by Martin. Tar Heels ball. How about the block by Calabria?
Well, Beck was wide open. Absolutely perfect timing by Calabria. Stackhouse again going out, maybe to get a little bit more medical attention.
Matt Sullivan returns.
Jim, a pace like this, a lot of times guys don't shoot well because they're losing their breath early on. They've got to settle down, get their second wind, settle into some kind of pattern. Game very frenetic at this point.
McGinnis. Scotty Thurman sees Beck ahead.
Assist McGinnis. He got back, but too late.
Yep, grazed the fingertips.
Yep. And you've got to, when you get your guard to penetrate like that, somebody else has to pull back. Sullivan in trouble.
Calabria, second best in the nation from three, and Wallace with the putback.
The difference between Virginia attacking Arkansas's press and North Carolina will get it over the press and then try to score. Virginia just tried to get it over the press and then get into half-court defense. North Carolina now in a 2-3 zone. Look for Scotty Thurman. Beautiful pass.
No look pass. Martin almost got it.
Corliss on his shove.
Corliss incredulous. We reached the break with the Hogs in front.
The hospital. Let's send it back to Jim and Billy.
Thank you, Michelle. Our thoughts and prayers with the Romar family. Let's hope for a good report on that one.
Cross-court passing by North Carolina, always effective against a 2-2-1 pressure. I look over, and Jerry Stackhouse has got a pad, Jim, on that thigh, still on the bench.
Alex Dillard, number 3. Davor Remots, number 22 for the Razorbacks. Wallace tipped it once and bangs it right off of Thurman.
Good hustle by Wallace. Scotty Thurman, very deceptive on the inside. He gets the hands on a lot of balls, but Wallace does a very intelligent thing there, bouncing it off Scotty's leg.
Carolina's made only one of its last 9.
Here you see zone pressure now. But Wallace doesn't realize how open he is.
Donald Williams got it to go. He had missed his first 4. Stackhouse still out.
Donald Williams ice cold last year when North Carolina failed to move to the Sweet 16. He's got to light it up here, particularly with Stackhouse on the bench. Arkansas being very patient.
Thurman with McGinnis reaching in. They give McGinnis with the hand slap.
Jim, so far I would say quick whistle in this basketball game. But Arkansas really hasn't had a chance to turn up the defensive pressure. Dillard out there on the side looking for that jumper.
There you go. Wow, way too strong. McDaniel and Calabria read it. Sullivan snowbirding. He'll shoot 2. Remots on the hat.
Sullivan just happy to be here. Had a very serious back problem early in the year. That's good hands by Calabria. Excellent hit ahead as Sullivan released. Something always good to do against a team like Arkansas that wants to put all that pressure on, Jim. Release a man. Don't allow them to send 5 men to the boards.
And you remember this look right here. On the line at the Superdome with 20 seconds to go against Michigan. Made the first, missed the second.
Right.
Redshirted last year. Didn't think he'd get much playing time. Came back this year. A couple of bulging discs. Had to have a 6-hour operation and missed the first 21 games. Carolina with its first lead, 11-10. Remots.
There's a release to Wallace.
Wallace with Dillard there.
Why? The big man does a 360 on the small man. Wallace is getting fired up, Jim, with plays like that. They need to get that ball down to Corliss some to keep him honest.
Remots again.
North Carolina wanting to go long, keeping Arkansas honest on the rebounds.
Yep, they have players releasing early.
Yep.
8-point run for the Tar Heels. Make it 10.
Without Stackhouse. They've been shooting strictly on the perimeter. Corliss is not touching it. They got to get the ball down to the man inside. He got him here, and he can take him to the next level.
McDaniel, three-pointer, his second already.
And McDaniel has not been having much offensive production in the tournament so far, Jim. Another guy that hadn't scored in double figures.
But a man who can get it done on the defensive end.
Without question. Solid screen, good step out.
Calabria inside the Sullivan.
Good passing. North Carolina has their heads turned. Arkansas on the attack already. Look at that range.
Dillard. I don't think they've seen a shot in Seattle launched like that since downtown Freddie Brown. We'll be right back. Well, he's been chalking up victories at Carolina for 34 years. He loved those Reagan years.
Yeah. Looks like he's a Republican there, Jim.
Well, I don't know. He won
Bush,
a championship
Reagan.
with Clinton in office,
All right.
93. They've got some subs in for Carolina. Zwicker, number 45. And Pierce Landry with the ball right now, number 22. Corey Beck, Dwight Stewart double teaming McInnes.
Great job by McInnes to fight through the double team in the corner. He ended up drawing a foul, Jim, but he was in serious problem. Excellent trapping by Arkansas. They call it the other way around.
They call it on McInnes, his second.
Well, the trap set that up. Excellent defense by Arkansas.
Razorbacks have in 6'11" sophomore center Lee Wilson, who's getting better by the game in this tournament.
Well, Stewart in the game now. Dillard out. Remember, Stewart's the guy who can step out and hit the threes.
Here's Wilson, right back to Remots for the three. Tip into Stewart. Wilson tipped it to Stewart.
Going right over the top of the press. Kind of negated that pressure. Don't allow double teams with the dribble.
Stackhouse.
Corey Beck staying with Calabria. Doesn't want him open for any of those threes.
Stackhouse. Bruce thigh and all. Daniel. Tie-up situation. Arrow is Arkansas.
Pretty good job by Wilson just to hang on to that ball, Jim. No space whatsoever on the pass.
Nolan Richardson told me back in January when we went in for the Kentucky game, as we see Remots knock down a three, that Lee Wilson has a great chance of being the best big man in Arkansas history. At that time, you didn't see it, you know, but since then, we're seeing signs.
How about Rematch hitting that jumper? Talking about the Kentucky game, he was supposed to start and had a kidney stone problem.
Pierce Landry, 22 for the Heels, answers at the other end with a 2.
Pretty good perimeter shooting in the game right now. Rematch on one wing, Stewart on the other. He's got a quick release.
Stewart. Zwicker had position.
Stewart 7 threes in the opening round for this club.
Double team on Zwicker. Calabria cutting through. Wide open McInnes, three-pointer.
What we're seeing is the European philosophy. Penetrate with the dribble, punch on out for the three. America accepting something that they've done so well in another continent. Stay in the zone.
Beck dumps it into Wilson.
Foul.
Zwicker had already turned around thinking Beck was going to shoot a three.
Well, Wilson did a good job not turning around himself. It looked like it was going to be a three.
And by the time Zwicker got back around, he hacked Wilson. Donald Williams and Rashid return. McInnes and Zwicker out.
Jimmy, you can see two different philosophies as to how to operate a bench. North Carolina operating primarily position at a time. They've got a sub guard, a sub forward, and a sub center. Arkansas substituting their entire bench, likely to go down 10 or 11 deep. Almost platooning an entire team at a time. Both effective.
Wilson only 50% from the line. Bangs that one home.
18-5 against Syracuse. That really, when you start thinking about it, Williamson foul out of the game. Wilson did a great job there. Again, the 2-2-1, then they go man-to-man on a press.
Landry in trouble, got it back to Stackhouse.
He'll finish.
Calabria, feet planted, air ball.
He saw, and the horn sounded, that ball hit nothing, Jim. And the reason for that being so quick is, you remember the trouble they had getting it over half court. So good job by Arkansas. (22-20) North Carolina. North Carolina's probably played more zone this year than any North Carolina team in Dean Smith's tenure there. Certainly the last 20 years.
Stewart gives Arkansas the lead.
Great release. The press has taken a lot of time off that clock, so North Carolina doesn't have that much time to operate in. Nice job by Wilson, didn't let penetration.
Stackhouse on the board with a three-pointer.
He's really improved his range on his jump shot. He was primarily a 15-foot shooter when he got to college. Wilson.
Stewart chases it down. They reset to 35. It'll be Arkansas ball when we come back. North Carolina 25-23.
You're exactly right, Jim. Tremendous field goal percentage defense for North Carolina. Surprisingly, Arkansas this year, they have given up 44% from the field goal percentage, and with the exception of that great defense against Virginia, they have a tendency to allow people to get some shots off. Not like that ball club last year that played suffocating defense.
Good passing here. Wallace, they call it a tie-up, but this time the heels will get it.
Corey Beck got hit in the eye. Referee's got to hold on a little bit. He's hurting in the eye. There you see Rasheed Wallace goes up, gets all ball and then some. He's going to stay in the game. Tough kid. We saw him play 20 of 25 minutes with 4 fouls last week against Memphis State, and then a touch foul.
That's really both of his fouls now have been touch fouls. You remember the first one?
Well, he can't get discouraged here. You're exactly right, Jim. Both of them right in front of us, really touch fouls, and that's that deal again. Quick whistle, slow whistle. Hard to get good pressure on if you can't do a little bit of checking. Nolan, I'm sure, is going to get up and start talking to these officials. He can't afford to let that happen much more.
Williams steps in for 2.
Good block out on Wallace, and Wallace is accepting blockouts, Jim.
Williamson's been out for a while now.
And in the man-to-man, Arkansas seemed to like with this lineup the zone a little bit better because Stewart could step out and get those open looks. Scotty Thurman being guarded by Williams. North Carolina jumps out with a double team.
4 on the shot clock. Beck, bad eye and all, too strong. Williamson now comes in. He'll be checking in on the next whistle.
Trying to get the ball inside to Rashid.
Got it there. Soft touch.
The two outstanding sophomores. They know each other's game.
8 points for Wallace. Carolina 4-point lead with 6 minutes to go in the half.
Good double screen. Rematch can't get the ball. There it is.
Rematch 3. Right down the barrel.
Jimmy's very positive, looking for his shot out there. Came off the screens well. Bad pass.
Razorbacks now with a chance to take the lead. Down 27-26. Stewart working inside. And the Hogs lead by 1.
Terrific job. He took advantage of his size and chest. Go right over Stackhouse.
Outside Williams. Steps in for a 2. Carolina back ahead by 1. Long stretch without a whistle.
Guys are showing effects of it too, Jim. Wallace getting tired inside.
Wilson. Last touch by Carolina. Heels will bring in Sullivan and Calabria. 4 subs for the Hogs with Corliss, Darnell Robinson for the first time, number 44. Alex Dillard and Clint McDaniel back. Corliss out for 6.5 minutes on the game clock.
Jimmy averages 31 minutes a game, so sits down about 9. Nolan Richardson really has the ability to use this bench. He knows how to do it.
Thurman missing. Thurman still hasn't scored with 4:40 remaining in the half. This is a 3.
Donald Williams got Robinson on him. Robinson not able to stay out there with him. It's hard to believe that Williams is getting open so much, Jim. He's got a lot of good looks at the basket in his first half. Wow, wow, wide.
Well, underneath, rejected by Rashid.
You don't see that often.
Calabria finds McGinnis. Wallace comes back out with it.
Smart play on his part. Didn't have the good footwork, and he's very tired right now, particularly after that effort against Williamson.
Williams again. Just beats the shot clock.
I cannot believe that he's getting so open.
Dillard.
Rasheed Wallace can't even breathe, Jim. He cannot get over half court.
Taken away. Well, this was a little dose of Scotty Thurman's own medicine from last year. From the same point, beat the shot clock here.
Can't afford to leave that man open, and there's the block.
Hey, Billy, how about the 2 stars for Arkansas, including this man, Thurman?
Well, you know Scotty will get it heated up, but they've got 2 points between them. Corliss down inside against the 2-3 North Carolina zone.
Corliss with 2. Thurman shut out so far. Carolina enjoying its largest lead, 35-28. Alex Dillard.
Dillard losing a little confidence when he put up that one from downtown and was yanked out of the game.
Shamon Williams, number 15, into the Carolina lineup.
Tried to do too much coming in off the bench. Not his game.
Ahead. He's a fast one. Gets it back. Dillard, who's missed all 4 of his shots so far. Now make it 5. Tank pulls it down. Tank with the turnaround. That was a wild throw.
Robinson trying to do too much, as was Williams on that last play. You come in off the bench, all the coach wants from you are not stats, he wants minutes.
Swicker.
Both teams not taking advantage of getting the ball in the hands of their key players.
And a violation that time. Arkansas has really gone cold. It's missed its last 9 shots.
Jim, you cannot afford to come in off the bench with guys that coaches are just trying to get some minutes out of and have those players be an integral part of the shot selection. Now, Robinson has really taken bad shots for Arkansas. Williams tried to come in off the bench and make a big play, as did Zwicker. There's where you want the ball.
Stackhouse.
Neither team really settling down on the offensive end of the floor to execute. Been a really of a scramble type offense.
They got McInnes back in there quickly for Shammond Williams, who made just a couple of trips down the floor.
Yep, they're trying to get a few minutes here out of Zwicker as Wallace sits down.
Another shot for Williams. He's fired up 10 attempts. Zwicker into the second row trying to save it.
See the shot? That's a shot they want. Zwicker, not the quickest of foot, but gave a lot of heart. Tremendous effort there. Young man played in the McDonald's High School All-American game. So it's not like he just showed up at North Carolina.
1:38 to go in the half. Arkansas stuck on 28 for a while, shooting 28% from the field.
They've almost forgotten a guy down in the post named Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. They've got to be thinking about him.
Thurman gets his first bucket, and a three-pointer at that. The rainbow by Thurman cuts it to 4.
Beautiful head fake by McInnes on that double team. They assumed he was going to give up the ball.
Sullivan, boy, up high and almost dropped.
Oh, they didn't see. Scotty was wide open. Again, Jim, bad shot selection from the bench.
Stewart. 45 seconds to go. Williams left open. Been saying that all game long.
North Carolina doing to Arkansas what they did to Kentucky. Cross-court passing against that double-team pressure. Finding good open perimeter shooters like Calabria and Williams.
Thurman. The call foul on Arkansas is Thurman.
Well, I thought Scotty got all ball there. I think he agrees with me.
Coming up on Pennzoil at the half, Pat O'Brien, Quinn Buckner, and Mike Krzyzewski will have their comments and analysis of the first half, plus Game 1 winning coach Jim Herrick from UCLA. Pierce Landry comes in. Donald Williams has scored Carolina's last 10 points.
Of course, Jim, what he is very patient to go ahead and get in an offset position when the ball is on the opposite side of the court. By doing that, he's in a position to catch and deliver the shot right away rather than worrying about his footwork after he touches the ball. Good experienced player there.
Sullivan will shoot one more. We were talking about his long journey back to the Final Four. He really was able to rehab after that surgery by swimming. I'm talking rigorous swimming exercises. Enough that Smith told him, I'd like to see him make the swim team by the time you get back.
Scotty Thurman, the ball in his hands. 8 seconds to go. Landry's got a problem.
Finally, they find Corliss, double team, and he traveled.
Plenty of time now for North Carolina to get something off. Dean Smith quickly puts back in his starters.
Gets Donald Williams, McInnes, and Stackhouse in for the final 3.6.
And see if Arkansas picks up full court to make North Carolina try to put the ball on the floor, occupying that time. Here they are, full court.
Sullivan throws the baseball pass off the backboard. Stewart launches it. Is it enough?
Yes! Can you believe that one?
How about that? Dwight Stewart from just inside the midcourt stripe. Let's measure it just over 50 feet. Call it inside, outside, or whatever. Midcourt stripe from the other end. Stewart, an electrifying exclamation point to finish the first half. Arkansas now down 4. Corey Beck. That quickly, it's a 1-point game.
Corey Beck looked very comfortable on that shot. Stewart in the starting lineup for Martin here in the second half. Game could take a different complexion.
Turnover, the 9th committed by the Tar Heels. Oh, and Arkansas with a chance on that break to take the lead comes away empty.
They only had 3 turnovers in the first half.
Stackhouse, 3-pointer, his second of the game. He's got 6 points.
Corey Beck somewhat upset. Felt he didn't get back on defense the way he wanted to after hitting that jumper. North Carolina in the man-to-man. Not guarding Williamson on the perimeter is Wallace.
Williamson has position. Now they get it to him. There you go.
Both teams have settled down here in the second half, looking much more organized. First half was a matter of bad shooting percentage by Arkansas because of bad shot selection.
Hold on Stewart.
And here's Corliss posting up. There's not a guy in the country can allow Corliss Williamson to get in the low post because he uses that wide body so well. Rasheed Wallace plays behind him trying to count on his shot blocking ability, but you just can't get to that wide body. I expect Arkansas to go down inside time and time again in the second half.
It sure looked easy on that last one.
He makes it look easy because he works so hard for position.
Screen by Stackhouse, frees him for a 3. Donald Williams.
Donald Williams, 3-point basket for North Carolina.
Stewart inside his range, didn't take the shot. Inside 50 feet.
Yeah, really. I was going to ask you to find that. Wallace says, get that out of here. And Stackhouse ahead to Calabria.
Good hustle. There's the double down.
Inside Corliss, and 1.
Again, Rasheed Wallace going to be taken to school if he thinks he can play Corliss Williamson behind. Of course, Rasheed used to playing some excellent postmen. Tim Duncan from Wake Forest, Joe Smith from Maryland. And they're outstanding players, but I don't think either one of them in the low post any better than this man right here, and maybe not as good.
Corliss Williamson, who broke his wrist in last year's championship game and didn't even know it until about 5 weeks later and had to sit out the whole summer. His weight, in fact, ballooned to over 280 pounds being inactive.
Well, I would have had to ask him, Jim, you didn't break your leg, you broke your wrist. He should have been running, you know. It's the first time he hadn't been actively involved with basketball in the summer, he said, in a long, long time, maybe in his life.
McDaniel slipped and committed the foul.
And again, you see this movement by North Carolina. Dribble penetration and then throwing the shot, the pass back outside for the 3. Since they have 4 players on the perimeter that can all shoot that 3, it's tough to defend.
Stackhouse drove by Williamson. Thurman, oh, he thought it was clean.
Scotty is so quick getting his hands on the ball inside. That's the second time, Jim, he's got called on that foul.
Foul is charged number 30, Scotty Thurman, his second, team's third.
Boy, aside from Corliss's broken wrist, Corey Beck had knee surgery. McDaniel in a pickup game 2 weeks after the title game broke a thumb, had to have an operation.
Rasheed Wallace shooting 2.
Darnell Robinson had knee surgery.
And Jim, you know, Corey Beck stepped on some coral over in Hawaii. That required 6 stitches in his foot. And I think that's the real reason why Nolan Richardson hasn't had a chance to have this ball club on all cylinders this year with those nagging injuries. But they're still 30 wins.
31 and 6. Same number of wins as a year ago when they won the title in Charlotte. Stewart posting up on Stackhouse. He's beat him once down here. Now a second time. Other one in the first half.
So we know that Stewart can shoot from the outside. I think he's finding it comfortable using his size advantage on Stackhouse.
Ooh, Wallace. Close one.
A little out of range there. Donald Williams would like to be in one more step.
Arkansas trailed in the second half in the first 4 tournament games. Trailed by 4 to Texas Southern, 3 to Syracuse. And there's Scotty Thurman tying the game at 47. A team that came from 12 back in the second half against Memphis and 6 down second half to Virginia. As many as 7 down in this half to Carolina. Beck ahead. Beck for the lead. Williamson on the follow.
Corliss Williamson is a great runner of the floor, Jim. He carries that big body 90 feet. Dean Smith screaming, he's hand checking.
Calabria three-pointer.
Nice run for Arkansas here.
A 10-1 Razorback run. Thurman. Ooh, his favorite shot comes up short.
Dean Smith telling his squad to push the ball up the floor. Nobody coming to meet the pass. This really wears Rasheed Wallace down.
Stackhouse. Third three-pointer.
North Carolina staying in man-to-man. They may have to go to that zone, Jim, to save a little energy defensively.
And a hold, a push, they say, actually on Wallace. I thought also Calabria reached in, but they give it to Wallace. And the whistle brings us for the first official timeout of the second half. 1 point, Carolina lead.
Man with a lot of power taking off and getting down court before the guards. And there is the zone defense by North Carolina.
McDaniel. We're seeing a different shooting scene here in the second half.
I think the reason for that, Jim, is Nolan Richardson, and this is a nice move on his part. You know, he had everybody playing in that first half. A lot of unusual lineups. He stuck right with his starting team here in the second half, and their shot selection is so much better. Here comes the traps. Williamson got a piece. And now Rasheed Wallace doing a lot of elbowing. He's going to pick up a cheap foul here if he doesn't watch it. 2-3 zone.
Williamson, what a move. Wow. 54-50 Arkansas. He turned Wallace around on that one. Calabria, three-pointer.
Excellent spin move, and what made it so effective is that Corliss did not use his arm to go ahead and lock Wallace. He got called for a foul. Just an excellent spin move. Drop step right inside. North Carolina stays man-to-man. And they move Stackhouse on Corliss Williamson. This will be hand-to-hand. Arkansas will be patient. Even though Stackhouse has got some quickness, he can go through him.
15-4 flurry by Arkansas to lead 54-50.
2-3 zone.
McInnes.
North Carolina really cold.
Oh, a collision.
Got 3 on the floor, and it looks like Stackhouse the slowest one getting up. Stackhouse going on right in between, splits. Beck gets down underneath him. Corliss comes over from the weak side.
Third on Beck. Stackhouse shakes it off. Beck, who always seems to be walking a fine line between staying in the game and fouling out.
Well, what he did, Jim, in that Memphis game was amazing because he had great defensive intensity. He had the ball in his hands a lot. He had the 4 fouls, and yet he was able to stay on the floor and with a difference in that ball game.
Here's the AP All-America team. Stackhouse, the first Carolina first-teamer since J.R. Reed in '88 when J.R. was a sophomore.
Wallace on a tap back.
Calabria set up for the 3.
There's Beck with that great rebounding ability as a guard, blocking Stackhouse out.
Thurman. McInnes gets his team on a run here.
Every shot has been contested. That's one you have to finish off. You see how effectively Arkansas is working the ball now, Jim, with his starting lineup on the floor. Nothing like what we saw in the first half.
Nope, didn't see much of that in the first half either. 56-51 Arkansas.
You cannot play behind him.
Calabria on a previous trip had a chance to tie it from 3-point land, but he's 0 for 4 in the game after shooting 52% on the season.
North Carolina now is starting to take some bad shots themselves. And Calabria, the leading 3-point percentage shooter in the country.
Daniel, ball on the line, Carolina ball. And they'll go to the benches. Corliss with 11 points in this half to put the Razorbacks ahead. Just for Arkansas changing dramatically, Billy.
Exactly double what they had. They were shooting 30% in the first half, 60% in the second. It's been great shot selection and really utilizing Corliss Williamson inside.
Scotty Thurman steals it to Beck. Beck on the other side comes away without any. Carolina now has missed its last 6. 3.5 minutes without a field goal. Donald Williams.
Everything's being rushed by North Carolina. They stay in the man-to-man defense. Now it's Sullivan down there on Corliss Williamson. Dean Smith trying again to get a couple of minutes here.
On the blocks, Williamson and Rashid alone underneath.
Sullivan did a pretty good job. Took Corliss Williamson a step away from where he wanted to be on that turnaround. And Arkansas staying in the zone.
Here's Landry, former JV player at Carolina. They whip it around on the perimeter. 10 on the shot clock. Got to beat it now. Landry can fire it.
Stewart doing a great job, Jim, on the defensive glass, and it will be turned back over to North Carolina, but he's keeping Wallace off the boards.
So the overrule keeps it with the heels. Davor Remots comes back in. Billy, he hit a couple of shots in the first half from 3-point land. Beck goes out.
And because they had no time on that, try to make a tough play. Isn't Arkansas interesting, Jim? They're out-rebounded by their opponents on the year, but when you look at this club, you say, how is that possible? You got so many guys who go up on the boards, good bench.
Stewart. Landry got caught. Turns it over for a second straight time, but Arkansas returns the favor. Double dribble. Tomorrow, the RCA Player of the Year show at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, followed by the McDonald's High School All-Star Game. Then bumps and jumps in the women's national title game, Tennessee and UConn.
North Carolina will have to figure out a way to get a little bit slower pace to get some good shots off.
Stackhouse, former MVP of that McDonald's High School All-America game, will go to the line. One of our scouts down there, Mikey Arnold, who works for us, said Vince Carter has looked awesome in St. Louis this week. He'll be playing tomorrow, and next year he'll be playing for North Carolina.
Yep, young man from Florida. Stackhouse, nice passing on the interior down inside.
Oh, Stewart to the bench. Wilson in.
Stackhouse, tremendous ACC tournament. Not enough to offset the incredible play of Randolph Childress. But right behind Joe Smith of Maryland this year is the leading vote getter for all conference in that league.
56-52, Hogs. 9.5 remaining.
First time North Carolina was going to jump trap.
They thought he walked, but no call, and Williamson cashes in.
Boy, he's locking in about 6 feet from the basket and just controlling this second half.
Another turnover forced on the double team. McDaniel flings it to Williamson. 2 more. 60-52, Arkansas's biggest lead. Calabria still can't get a 3. Stackhouse with a whistle, and will shoot 2. At the Kingdome in Seattle. Arkansas trailed by as many as 7 in the first half, and again in the second half it got up to 7, but they fought back, the Razorbacks, to take an 8-point lead with just 8:58 remaining.
Jim, we talked about these clubs, all 4 teams in the Final Four this year, starting off their conference seasons with losses. Everybody can remember this Arkansas club in their very first game this year against Massachusetts, where they just were drubbed up in Springfield. A lot different ball club right now. Here's a nice move by Nolan Richardson. Takes Corliss Williamson out, give him a little rest. He wants him ready to go down that last 6 minutes.
That leaves the 2 sophomore towers inside, Wilson and Robinson. Not usually on the court at the same time.
Really like the way that Nolan Richardson has orchestrated this game. Everybody got in the first half, trying to wear North Carolina down. Second half, until right now, really stuck with that basic starting lineup. Now using a little time. How about the difference in shot selection this second half compared to the first?
Rematz gets it back. Swatted away again. Rashid forcefully sending that one out of there. Stackhouse 3-pointer.
They are just contesting every jump shot.
Stackhouse, great hustle, but had a foot on the line. Pierce Landry comes in, and Billy Calabria, 52% again on the season from beyond the arc, 0 for 6.
Jim, I haven't seen a jump shot in this second half that North Carolina has been able to take that didn't have a man right in their face. It's really affecting.
Well, North Carolina overall has missed its last 10 from the field.
Well, when you consider that, they probably aren't in that bad a shape, down just 6. Scotty Thurman, so patient, so unselfish.
He passed up a shot you would think he'd take from out there. They'll reset the 35 with the kick. The shot clock had gotten down to 5. We'll be right back. Second half. Clock now reads 7:44.
And Jim, with Corliss Williamson having a great second half, Rasheed Wallace has not had a point since 6:10 left in the first half.
Wow. Saved by Landry. Remots gets it back.
Wallace not aggressively going for the ball there. Has to anticipate the kickback. It's interesting how the good execution by Arkansas took North Carolina out of their zone.
Thurman 3. Tipped up by Wilson. Robinson. Carolina 8 down with 7 to go. Carolina over 8 minutes without a field goal.
Zone now getting much more aggressive by Arkansas. Really bumping out on the perimeter because there's nothing down in the center that's getting it done.
Robinson stripped it away, and Wallace hurt his hand on that.
Ball goes down inside. Looked like a chopped foul right there. Wallace certainly felt so.
Just call it out of bounds on Arkansas. 62-54 Razorbacks.
See, you just don't have a shot. First half, they were getting a lot of easy looks.
Got to beat the shot clock now. Got to put it up. McInnes.
Excellent defense by Arkansas.
Remots. Lee Wilson. Last basket by Robinson, this one by Wilson. The sophomore centers give Arkansas a 10-point bulge. Calabria, will he get one? Not this time.
Look at Remots hustling down the court and going to the wing. This has been a great second half by Arkansas, Jim. Just terrific play. Both ends of the floor. Good shot selection. Tough defense on the ball. And now they're using a little clock. Good heady play by Beck, their leader.
Remots 3. And a foul called on Stackhouse.
What you see right now is a huge height advantage because the two twin towers, Jim, one occupies Wallace, the other one just too big on the opposite side. We saw Wilson on the putback. That time we saw Robinson over Stackhouse.
That's the third on Stackhouse and only the third foul of the half on Carolina. Talk about the Razorbacks play in this half. For the game, they've only turned it over 5 times. Wilson.
They can't stop the size, and Corliss Williamson's on the bench. Nolan Richardson enjoying the way his team's playing. May say, hey, I'll rest him. That young man, of course, set the tempo here in the second half.
Jeff McInnes collects his third. Again, only the 4th. So 3 away from the 1-and-1. 5:27 remaining.
Robinson in the first half would have taken a jump shot there. In the second half, he wisely gives it up. Entirely different play by Arkansas in the second half. Solid screen that time on Wilson, gets the foul. Dean Smith knows he's got to go ahead and get some points from somewhere. Fortunately for him, he's going to be able to go to the foul line without an Arkansas defender in somebody's face.
It'll be a 1-and-1 at the other end. You know, the last 2 years in the NCAA tournament, look at the coaches Nolan Richardson has knocked out head-to-head. John Thompson, Steve Fisher, Lute Olson, Mike Krzyzewski, Boeheim, Finch, and Jones in that list.
Jim, you pointed out at the top of the show, this Arkansas club has not lost a game in the NCAA tournament since you go all the way back to that North Carolina loss in the regionals, the year North Carolina went all the way.
Sweet 16 game in '93. (64-56).
Starting to use the clock. Stackhouse, you can see him down inside. Wilson just is keeping him out of there.
Calabria knocks it out of bounds. Under 5 minutes remaining. Can you believe it? Still, Carolina has not hit a field goal since 15:10 remaining in the half.
And now Nolan Richardson said, I'm coming back with the troops. A terrific play here in the second half from his twin towers, and Corliss Williamson comes back totally rested. Dean Smith over in the sideline, knowing his club's in real trouble. Had much more success here in Seattle when he came as a player back in '52 with Kansas. They won the national championship with Clyde Lovellette being the MOP.
Williamson,
Welcome back, huh?
Dean Smith in that game back in '52, title game in this city of Seattle. He played 29 seconds. He said, I have the highlight reel to prove it.
Well, made him along with Bob Knight, a guy that played for a championship team and also coached one, the only two.
Foul against Arkansas's McDaniel to set up another 1-and-1. Carolina got free throws on its last trip. Will shoot again here in the 1-and-1 situation, but the field goal situation lingers.
Jim, the key for Carolina now to get back in this game is not on the offensive end or on the foul line. They are now going to have to force Arkansas to turn some things over and get some points off their defense, which they have not been able to do this entire game because of the great ball handling that Arkansas has had and the lack of turnovers.
Wallace with that one attempt in the last 22 minutes. McInnes gets them both.
North Carolina is certainly not as fresh as Arkansas because Nolan's been able to put his three of his starters on the bench for the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Beck exchanging signals with McDaniel. Now he flips it on a wing to him. Working around for Thurman's three. And Williamson, big hustle play right there. Wallace could have had that one, it looked like.
He may be tired, he may just have gotten out hustled. But in either case, it's Arkansas's ball. Corliss Williamson has made him disappear here in the second half. He's got him pinned again.
McInnes called for the hold away from the ball, and that's his fourth. And that's the under 4-minute timeout. North Carolina has missed its last 12 shots in almost 11.5 minutes without a field goal.
I think that refocused Arkansas as to what they needed to do. It's been interesting to be a fly in the wall in that locker room at Arkansas where they only shot 30%. Crazy shot selection. They have really locked in here in the second half.
Williamson has position on Stackhouse. Back out now to Stewart. Three-pointer. Got it.
Inside-outside game. You've got to help out on Williamson. Stackhouse too small. Williamson, unselfish nature, puts it right back outside. This is great execution by Arkansas in the second half.
Boy, Stewart has come up big off the bench with 15, and McDaniel called for that one.
Now, Nolan Richardson doesn't want fouls here. You want the clock to run. There was the inside-outside game. Wallace doesn't get there in time, and we have seen Stewart, a 40% plus three-point shooter his entire career. 7 threes in the opening game this year in the NCAA tournament. He's got a great stroke.
1-and-1.
Kind of interesting, Jim. North Carolina only has 5 team fouls. So, even though they've been playing man-to-man, it hasn't been that aggressive. And Arkansas has been able to do about what they want to them. McInnes asking for some pressure and double teams.
Wallace bumped the body of Williamson. Again, that's only the 6th, so Arkansas to inbound.
Hey, Jim, there was a good example of something that Wallace is going to be an outstanding player. But the difference between a man, Williamson, and Wallace, who has a lot of maturing to do, when everybody talks about going into the NBA, I mean, it's like night and day. Wallace just not quite as strong or anywhere near as strong as Williamson.
Oh, another overrule, and this one's going to Carolina.
Stackhouse using his quickness. Nice move by Arkansas. They're not going to let North Carolina have anything easy. They're still pressing them.
3 minutes remaining.
That press takes a lot of time off the clock.
And a steal on the double team. They take it away from Rashid.
Pretty quick hands.
Williamson. He walked. Yep.
Now what Arkansas is doing here, Jim, is pressing full court. Even though they've got the lead, what it does, take a lot of time off the clock. North Carolina can't attack quickly. So they're using 8 seconds or so just to get the ball over half court.
It's only 2:45 remaining, and the clock has stopped. The
Yes,
clock
it
is
has.
not operating.
Shot clock is stopped. Game clock is moving. Now it's started, but it's too late.
Three-pointer, Donald Williams, and a timeout called. Had to have been 4 or 5 seconds before the game clock kicked into gear. Timeout called by Carolina. Williams knocks it down to 6. Check this out, Billy, with the clock shot in set. The game clock was at 2:47 and not moving at this point.
And Nolan Richardson didn't realize it at this time. Now, after the shot goes in, he wanted to get the attention of the referee saying, hey, they should have stopped action. They didn't stop action. Then you see there's the shot clock going, and the shot will go up here, and it's a big 3 for North Carolina. Hard to believe that they have put themselves down just 6. And you have to think back to the SEC Tournament Championship game where Kentucky was down 9 with 1:34 to go.
And again, the game clock was out at the same time as you saw the shot clock there. So a good 6-7 seconds elapsed before they kicked it into action. So watch this now. They've already had the ball for a couple of seconds.
Right.
4, 5.
And of course, if you're
6,
Nolan Richardson, you want to
7.
get as much time off of that clock as possible. It's showing 2:32 all the way around.
Well,
now.
they did. They adjusted it then. They took an extra 4 off the clock.
And that's one of those deals where you can go to the monitor in regard to a timing error.
Double team and a timeout. Beck was in trouble, and he called the time. 2:22. Arkansas leading by 6 with the ball. And Billy, what do you look for now? 2 timeouts each team.
Well, Jim, the 2 back-to-back timeouts, one Arkansas didn't want to call, but they didn't want to lose possession, helped North Carolina a lot because that was a long rest for the Carolina team that's now in pressure. Look for a jump trap now by North Carolina. Here they come. And Arkansas should look to try to score against this defense.
Well, they better look in a hurry. Shot clock down to 2. Stewart, probably the one over the back. Yep.
Boy,
Dwight
this
Stewart.
Very dangerous for Arkansas not to look to score, Jim. They're trying to be too passive, and they've got themselves now in a situation of potentially being in a 4-point ball game.
Double bonus the rest of the way for North Carolina. They'll shoot 2.
Carolina, excellent free throw shooting team, as we pointed out in the NCAA tournament, shooting almost 75%.
Jeff McGinnis, shooting 2.
McGinnis.
Big miss. That puts you back in the situation where you got to be thinking threes. But it allows full court pressure on the made free throw.
Williams reached in. Arkansas going to face some 1-and-1 trips now.
Without question, Dean Smith has been a master at extending games when they get down to the wire. When he had the 4 corners, he tried to reduce the time, and obviously the shot clock eliminated that. But he will go for a foul situation. Stewart, a 65% free throw shooter.
Short. What a box out. Wallace retrieves it. And Carolina with some life here. Stackhouse to the hole for 2.
Incredible to think they went 12 minutes without a field goal or in the ball game.
3-point game, and Stewart back to the line for a 1-and-1.
Jim, how about the shot at the end of the half? You know, when you start thinking about it, here was Jerry Stackhouse showing how he can power to the basket. but North Carolina was the team with 3.4 seconds that had a chance to extend their lead. That was a huge turnaround.
On the 8th team foul, the next one also will be a 1-and-1. Stewart this time.
Long.
No! A 3 to tie. Carolina on an 8-0 run. Williams. Rebound to Thurman.
Kind of surprised that he took that early.
But he picks it off. Calabria. Could it be at long last? No, he'll drive to the hole. Wallace hammered. And he'll go to the line for 2.
Good idea, Jim. A lot of time on the clock since you are going to foul to put them on the line. Go for 2 points here.
1:11 remaining. Wallace, if he makes them both, will trim the lead to 1. Arkansas just moments ago, it seems, up 11.
11 and pulling away at 11, Jim.
His mother, Jackie. Calabria tips it up. And Stackhouse chases it down.
Big double team in the corner, and they take a timeout.
Timeout, Carolina. Calabria almost tipped it in. Carolina basketball down only 2 with 1:04 remaining.
The Duke game, of the Wake Forest game in Winston-Salem. Of course, over the years, some incredible comebacks.
Calabria draws Corliss outside.
A lot of time, man-to-man defense here.
Stackhouse driving.
It's a clear out.
Stackhouse to the line to tie it up.
That was a set play. Jerry Stackhouse, 1-and-1, and Jim, he got some pretty good one-on-one training this year.
Yes,
when he
sir.
went 1-on-1 with Michael Jordan. He says the score was about 18-10, but just the fact to go one-on-one with Jordan would give you a lot of confidence.
That was when Michael showed up in Chapel Hill for a practice in early January. Now 2 free throws to tie it. Williamson picked up his 4th with that foul. Oh!
See if Arkansas does a better job blocking out. Remember on the last one, Calabria almost got a piece.
69-68.
Arkansas should look to score against this pressure.
Oh, Stackhouse almost got to it. One more foul for a 1-and-1. Would be a 1-and-1.
They don't want to put Scotty Thurman on the line. Dean Smith says no foul. Dean Smith wanted no foul. He wanted to have the opportunity, Jim, to have the ball with 10 seconds to go. That was the differential on the time clock and the shot clock. So he just wanted to play solid defense there.
Well, this will be a 1-and-1 for Clint McDaniel. Almost 76% from the line. Stewart has missed the last 2 front ends of the 1-and-1.
Well, it still gives North Carolina, even if he makes him, a chance to go for a 3. Looked pretty cool on that one, didn't he?
Kid from Tulsa who grew up worshiping the Tulsa coach at that time, Nolan Richardson. Gives him a 3-point lead.
Now they got to think 3, but take a 2 and foul if you have to.
Calabria, Beck took it away and calls a timeout. No, they say first, a tie-up situation.
So, and it's going to be North Carolina getting it back. Corey Beck can't believe the call, and I agree with him, Jim. I think that, number 1, I think he had the timeout, and number 2, if he didn't, I think he got fouled. Now here you see Beck on the floor. There's no question that's a foul if it's not a timeout. It can't be a jump ball.
Timeout, Arkansas granted. This looks like a missed call. Without a doubt.
No question about it, Jim. Here's Beck on the ball. Now you see a foul on Calabria. Beck then calls for the timeout. There's no foul called, there's no timeout called, and now Calabria gets an opportunity to call it a held ball. Carolina had the arrow, so they get the ball back. Big call for Carolina.
Will inbound it now with Calabria. Carolina down 3.
With 18 to go, you almost got to go for the 3. And obviously Arkansas knows that. And who do they put? McDaniel on Williams. And he will really be shading him. Probably will not leave him even if McGinnis makes penetration inside. You got Scotty Thurman on Calabria.
Well, Calabria, their hottest three-point shooter on the season, 0 for 8 today. Could he find a way to break out of it now?
Got to get the ball in bounds. See if Stackhouse tries to take him again.
Williams. McDaniel pulls it down. 7.5 to go. And McDaniel will shoot 2 now. Double bonus rest of the way for Arkansas.
Jim, with that much time, you think you can still get a good 2 and foul anyway, as opposed to taking the bad 3. It's a little bit out of Donald Williams' range. Donald Williams, who the first guard since Gail Goodrich to average 25 in the Final Four. A little bit out of range on that jumper.
McDaniel, who hit 2 big ones in a 1-on-1 situation moments ago, this time with 2. Sub in for Carolina, Pat Sullivan. Carolina 5 down with 7.5 remaining.
I think they're going to go long to Wallace. Stackhouse coming out of the game right now. See if they're going to try to go long to Wallace. Pick up a quick foul.
Sullivan runs the baseline, flings it.
That's the idea.
Wallace, Corliss retrieves it. And Arkansas is heading to Monday night for the chance to repeat. They'll count the basket at the end for Corliss. Monday night, the Razorbacks looking for the repeat.
Well, a team that repeated often, UCLA, goes up against somebody that would like to have their first.